how a leader can bring it, success, bring success to it. So one style of leadership is which make the audience motivated and charged up, but there is also another style which make the team march along with them. Teamwork is displayed strongly here, and trust me, no leader is complete without their team. I strongly feel, at least from my experience, whatever little quote unquote success, it's a way, it cannot be defined, at least for me, it cannot be defined, but whatever I have little achieved in my life, I am standing at whatever that small, at the in the niche I have carved out for myself. It is only because of my team. A strong team, a productive team, an empowered team, a motivated team carves out the success path for the team leaders. So no leader can be incomplete, and a leader's uh, role largely lies on learning and development, development of the team's learning. For you students, if it is what is professionalism defined nowadays as, you should not be overtly open up with what you're doing. Similarly, you should not keep the cards close to your chest. There has to be a balance for better. For you, when you're doing a project or an event, even this session, okay, someone takes the lead. What is that lead? It is that initiative. It is that mindset, that concept that I want to do something new. I want to do, I want to do one new project. I want to, design something, some unique program. Okay, that is what you are leading. That makes a leader. There is always a group of people who, who's willing to work and go beyond the scope of their duty, or in professionals JD, which is the job description. They want to. And there's always a group of people who say, क्या जरूरत है यार, कोई तो कर रहा है ना, we'll just go and do what we are being told to. The people who takes that initiative to go beyond their scope, capability, capacity are the leaders. So, Peter Drucker says that only three things happen naturally in organizations: friction, confusion, and underperformance. Everything else requires leadership. Leadership is the rendezvous with reality, and it is just like parenting, he says. Like, he says the leadership problem, it's like, TLT, too little time, into people, into power. And TLT, which is too little time, is infected, and leaders almost have, they undergo this headless chicken syndrome. It is little things that people bring together, not the high sounding glorious talks, but they cannot, uh, you know, you should empower your team. You should empower your colleagues, your fellow students. So, but what a leader should do is they should give the guidance, the framework. That is very important. The brief is very important. You cannot just say, okay, I need this, go and do it. That is exactly not empowerment for your team, because you are holding a responsible position and you know what is the target, mission goal of the senior management. If you're in a corporate, for you students, you should be knowing rather what is the mission, vision, goal, and target, or what's the plan of your institution, right? So when one person is given the task, or I would say when one person willingly is willing to take up a task. Okay, so they should be briefed properly and the framework should be given. So when I'm sorry, you become a leader, always ensure that don't move around like a headless chicken, because your team will also move around like a headless chicken. Okay, the brief should be given, the framework should be given, and make them empower. Make them make mistakes. Don't be so stringent. Yes, I understand that time is a big factor, but the confidence which the team can develop, it cannot happen in a day or two, but over the period of time. Okay, so it that way, through the learning and development, it is very important. And self leadership, he says, it is the, or which we call power. Okay, so it is self awareness. It can be one can be groomed into, or adopt this self awareness, self reflection, and self regulation. Very important three qualities of a leader. You have to be self aware, you have to self reflect, introspect. As I said, students, you, if you can write about yourself, and self regulation. You should know about ourselves. In fact, I mean, MBA students, management students, they all must have studied the Johari window, right? The four quadrants, which talks about the different, the blind self and hidden self, open self. It is very important, and trust me, it is not only for your professional life, or your external self to the in the society. It is for your own self also. It is very, very important. So this self awareness and regulation, yes, discipline is very much important. If you are not disciplined as a leader, you cannot make your team disciplined. It is very important. There should be a sense of freedom, an atmosphere, an environment for freedom, for sure. But then again, within a regulated environment, a disciplined environment. So some of the other traits are positive attitude, no doubt about it. Leaders know they can alter their lives by altering their minds. Self-discipline, a sense of security and confidence, it radiates in the presence of a positive attitude. So the positive attitude is important. If your team has, suppose, to err is human, right? So they can also, I mean, anyone, even the leaders make big mistakes. And the what is important is if they learn from the mistakes, that is very important, and not be self-obsessed, over-obsessed about their style of working, and themselves, that there is nothing to learn, and the whatever went wrong happened for some other reason. So similarly, the teams can also make mistakes, right? But that is the time you need to be by their side. You need to, as I said, you need to own a crisis, give them the credit for the good. But many a times I have seen many head of departments, and this I'm telling from my own experience, which I absolutely, I'm against it, and I never do it. I can be confident about it. Is that, suppose you get something done by your team, a beautiful presentation, or cracking a deal, a business deal, maybe for any B2B business or B2C business, or anything, any discipline. The team leader, the HOD, when they project it to the senior management, they never refer they never mention the contribution of the team members, or a particular team member who has been instrumental behind making that, or cracking a deal, or making that presentation. They go ahead. That is such a negative leadership trait. Trust me. Magnanimity, a big attribute of leadership. Trust me. If you are not magnanimous, you can never make a better leader, a good leader. You have to be magnanimous. You have to, showcase the good performance of your team to the senior management. When you are being appreciated for a particular work, you should always thank and also mention that it is because of the team, and Mr. X or Miss Y has been a great contributor to this, and been be a deal cracker for this particular job. Otherwise, the senior management only knows the head of the departments or the HODs, not the team which really toiled hard to get that done. That is very important. A drive for learning from others, from opportunities, from mistakes. There are no mistakes, only lessons. This is something which you all must know. Okay, there are all lessons in life. Life is such a long, race. With you don't even know what is the destination, right? No one can be sure that okay, this is the destination, and I know in so and so year I will reach there. Okay, so it's all about lessons. And trust me, if you make a mistake and you brood over it, you need to move on. So moving on is another very important thing for you to learn to be a good leader. You have to move on from whatever mistakes you have made. So those who stop learning stop growing. So you have to learn, and you have to learn from your mistakes and move on. Unwavering commitment. No great leader has ever lacked this commitment. Maybe true commitment requires and inspire courage. One should be passionate, focused, initiative, and responsible. For sure. Commitment is very, very important. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Another most very important point and very close to my heart, because that is the field in which I belong to, communication. The art of communication is the language of leadership. Good communication skill is very, very important for you to be a leader. You have to understand, you have to realize this. Sharing knowledge is essential. Even more important is listening. So a communication is always both ways, right? So sharing and listening and getting the feedback. President Woodrow Wilson once said that the ear of a leader must ring with the voice of the people. So this is very important. What you communicate, how articulate you are. What are these political leaders and religious leaders? I'm sorry, don't get me wrong, but what do they encash? In mostly the communication. They are very good orators, and that is the reason. If you really see that the concept of corporate communication, the scope has widened. Even earlier, the public sector undertakings, the private the public sector undertakings and many other maybe educational institutes, they did not have the concept of a communication department, but now they do. They develop spokesperson. Okay, for us in corporates, okay, we train our the senior management to be good orators. Because of the same, again, I'll repeat, the art of communication is the leader language of leadership. And also, where we should know the one very skill, a good skill of communication skill is, we say that one must know, understand, and be very conscious about what not to say, then what to say. It is very important, because as George Bernard Shaw says, that the biggest illusion about communication is that illusion it has taken place. We don't even realize that we have communicated something. Maybe some other day I'll take a session on communication and corporate communication, because it is a science. It is not as simple as it sounds. There's a science behind, there's a theory behind, and there are different categories and sections to communication. So good communication skill should be learned. If the person does not possess it, by default. Some are very good natural orators, and some should be trained, as leadership should be trained. So it is very, very important. Another important, as I said, is genuine interest in others. The best leaders thrive on helping others achieve their personal best. They are motivated by the desire for the highest good for all, rather than personal glory, because they are very intelligent in understanding and realizing that development, what happens in the team, which ultimately we can have a very positive impact on the team's performance, on the company's performance, and the leader's performance. So that is very important, an intelligent way of thinking. The challenges and opportunities of today's marketplace and of today's world require that we all step forward and leading every day, becoming the directors of our lives and finding more of our own personal best to give it to the world. As you develop your team, as you develop motivate them for developing their highest good, as I said, so investing on yourself is very, very important. So as you need to find more of your own personal best, because if we understand the USPs in us and the shortcoming in us, so we know what to polish more and what to work on. The leadership must come from within, and it is based on your personality. Like historic leaders, okay, now throughout the centuries, there have been leaders. We are social animals, like who bond together, we all know that. But we look for orders against the chaos of life. We look to be organized to accomplish tasks as a society that cannot be performed individually. So as a result, someone inevitably ends up in taking the charge. So as I said, that willingness, that drive to do something new, to do it yourself and taking charge is very important. In one session we were discussing, and very interestingly, it came out that the most successful, name some of the most successful CEOs or leaders, and we discussed that the most successful and CEO or MD, as you say, or leader is the mother of any household. They are the best leaders. They take charge. You don't have to tell them, right? They take charge. We take charge. Yes. Let us pat ourselves for that. And moms, they manage the facility team. They manage the HR. They manage your domestic health. They manage the finances, the administration. It is all about administration. Leaders are not despots, should not be despots. They should not be dictators. They should be democrats, and also they should be good administrators. If you have administrative quality, leadership in a big way is already existing in you. In the past, it belonged to the three categories, like political, military, and religious. Political leadership, we know, in fact, Marcus Aurelius was considered to be one of the best kings and best leaders, an excellent orator. Okay, so and then of course, I don't know whether you all have read this book, but if you all have not, you can read it. It's a very beautiful book about military leadership, Sun Tzu's The Art of War. I think I would recommend you to read it. Although he was a great military leader, his book is actually about how to not use armies, except as a last resort, focusing on more wise political policies and strategies to prevent war. It's a very, very good read. It's not a very big novel. It's a paperback, and you can absolutely read it, and you can read it very easily and quickly. Religious leadership used to only be there, these three major segments, so, and they had a great impact on their societies. They still do. Okay, and most of the leaders, you will find that they create an edge for themselves by the way they speak. Okay, modern leaders, with the rise of the industrial revolution, we have seen a new kind of leadership has emerged, like economic. The so-called captains of the industry found that they could build an empire based on the modern technology instead of swords. And that's how the modern leadership has evolved from the past. the big business tycoons, factory owners, I mean, on big entrepreneurs, they built large fortunes without the benefit of the armies, right? It was often at the expense of the people they employed. So they gave rise to these union leaders, and various movements then followed. So what is union leaders, how they evolved, it's a different story altogether. But again, it all, it leads to a representation taken forward by one particular person. And that is all about leadership. They take they are ready for the hard work, I would say, to take forward the voice of the people. One person, spokesperson. Okay, how we have the spokesperson for parties and for any other organization. So the industrial revolution also increased the number of scientific leaders, I would say. In fact, some theories of the leadership, we can say the great man theory, it was abandoned in favor of the theories of behavioral science, of course, but it's easy to be inspired by stories. We can just take the good points in people, and I'll tell you, trust me, you can learn good things and good points and good the attributes from anyone around you. Okay, it's all about how empowered people want to be, and how empowered people can be, and how one can make the other empowered. Okay, so there is that element of self-centeredness, selfishness, and jealousy. If these three terms I can use here, they have to be worked on. They have to be shed away. That you have to just throw away that mantle. If you are a good human being, if you want a very people around, empowered people around you, you automatically become a leader. You don't have to take a microphone and announce that I am the leader of something. People will look up to you and they will follow you. It's easy to be inspired by stories, but it is always for you to take yourself in those particular chosen scenarios, from the idols what you have, from the the inspirations, someone all must be having some inspirational life, some idols in life. You must be doing some worship of some great personality. You can take different traits from people, not necessary that you have to go with only one person and take it as a bible for you. Like Alexander the Great, if we go back to history, okay, then his the way he conquered, okay, his strategies. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, then Tubman. They saved who saved hundreds of slavery in the underground railroad. Mother Teresa. So different segments they come from, and they have led a revolution. They have created a revolution. They have led a movement. They are leaders, different type of leaders, right? It is not only that everyone has to go by how history has shown us, or how only we need to follow Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi, or anyone who you really worship. There can be different traits of leadership. You can learn from all the qualities, and you can be a leader. Even I would say that animal right activists, Ingrid Newkirk and Alex P. I'm forgetting the surname. They led a movement which hardly people knew about it, thought about it. What did they do? They worked for animal rights. They advocated that, and people for ethical treatment of animals and PETA was formed. The theory goes that these people did great things because they were simply great people determined by fate, and they fulfilled their they wanted to fulfill their destiny by work, by some contribution to the society, for the society, and for the people at large. So today we recognize that true leadership seems to come from a combination of all these theories, if not more. So as we have seen that these wide varieties of leadership qualities, everyone has some ability in at least one or more of these areas. This means that under whatever the circumstance we live in this present society, anyone can rise to a leadership role and be successful based on the leadership style. You can choose your own style. You can choose a particular theory that best matches your personality, because we all are not born with the same personality trait. We differ from each other. If we know how to use that ability to properly address the situation at hand, you are leading that particular moment. You can lead a moment, and leading a moment, if being practiced seriously with diligence, you can lead a movement for sure. You can lead. Now we talk about transformational leadership. Okay, like James McGregor, he introduced the idea of leadership as he researched different leaders, mainly political leaders. So he says that actually a process where leaders interact with the followers and inspire each other to advance together, march ahead together, which I mentioned. Some inspire and some make the brigade march and walk along. So he says that is transformational leadership. His characteristics and behaviors demonstrated the difference between management and leadership. I won't go into too much detail of it. You all can always study, because it is something what you can develop in yourself by introspection. As I said, I'm repeating, by knowing yourself, and also by learning, reading, and getting inspired. Okay, so it is a mix of both. So he says that it's the difference between management and leadership. He demonstrates. So people and organizations are transformed due to the leadership style and abilities of a leader. Sometimes we say that this particular company has a culture. If I may quote, Tata culture we talk about. Okay, Anand Mahindra, he made a culture of his in his company. So what is that? It is that due to the leadership style and the ability, who is able to convey a vision and guide that transformation. Guiding that transformation is very, very important. In fact, transformational leadership theory is also by shifting the focus to the followers. It is not the individual traits and vision of the leader that matter, as it is their ability to influence the feelings, attributes, and also I think the commitment also, I would say, for their followers. The followers are transformed by the charismatic leader, the motivational leader. At times it what happens that by the way you carry yourself, the way you display your body language, the way you follow the science of communicating through verbal, non-verbal, and your visual display, how people see you, you you move. I'm moved away, I'm floored, which we say. And then if you have realized, then you really hear or listen to what they're saying. So that first impression, that awe, you need to create in yourself through a discipline. It is required. Some leaders, are as their great orators. Some are very good writers. Some leaders are even quiet, but the force of their logic, even if there'll be some people who would never raise their voice to make someone understand. They will be in a very decent, with the tonal quality, decibel level, but they are so convincing They emphasis on their logic or the passion, and they win the hearts of the people. So the difference between, we can say, a good leader and a great leader is partly the number of leadership skills that they have developed. As I said, that you can take it from many people. Okay, so and once you take it, see, application is very, very important, right? It is, we cannot just be a sponge and absorb. It is very important that we absorb. But if we don't use them, no point, no point. Application is very important. Otherwise, no, what you're learning, it just stays in you. Neither it is doing you good or your colleagues or your friends or your institute or a corporate any good. Okay, what you're learning should always be spread. Otherwise, it doesn't really make any sense. So, uh, like people who are born, some people can be, important aspect of good leadership is knowing what you're trying to lead others to. That is very important. And this, I would say, involves a very careful consideration beforehand, like you plan. That what is that I want to convey? How am I going to develop my team? How am I going to the house captains? Okay, how I'm going to develop my team? What is the agenda I have? What is that pitch I need to convey? What is that message I need to convey to the audience, target audience? Everyone should have a target audience, right? Not everything is for the public at large. Who your target audience you have to identify, and then you need to think, what is that message that I have to convey? So that is what you one has to plan, and as they say, that begin with the end in mind and where it will lead you to. Having a plan means that you know what the end result looks like. We all know, right? Even if you're like, when we say that we should have a smart goal. Okay, because I mean, if we define the word smart as like specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely, so there should be a smart goal for sure. This can apply to your work environment, culture, or what you expect from your employees. Okay, so setting goals is very, very important. Determining values is very, very important. Okay, so I mean, it should be value based. There should be some value attached to it. What is it bringing to the team? What is it bringing to your counterparts? What is it bringing to your organization, your institute? What is it bringing to yourself? Okay, so another level, these goals are actually not as big picture as you get it. It is attainable. To really understand what how you can lead others, you must to account for your own values and the company's values. It is very important. Also important is the mission. Okay, everyone moves ahead with a mission, and based on the vision of that particular job or institute, organization, corporate, political party, whatever, based on the mission, right? So mission, vision, and values taken together with specific goals in mind, target in mind. If if a person can take the lead, motivate others, you become a leader by, I mean, very naturally. You don't have to really put an effort to it. Okay, so you automatically become a leader, inspiring your colleagues, helping by teaching while being open to new ideas and learning. Let them talk. Good leaders always let their team speak up in meetings. Trust me, because they also, in turn, when sharing their new ideas, teach you. Bravely, you have to tackle opportunities without showing fear. You may, as a leader, I mean, it is really some at times you have to bite the bullet. That leader, even you are a little shaky, you should not display that to your team member. Rather, go an extra mile for those around you to see how they are also not intimidated by certain things. Roll up their sleeves doesn't ask anything that they are not willing to do themselves. Empathies with those around, makes a very good leader. In fact, today one of the most, especially this pandemic, has brought in this concept of shared value, empathy, humane touch, and I would say storytelling. Okay, very, very important attributes for a leadership. Modern day leadership, in fact, especially I would say post pandemic, these are working to be wonders. Leaders are great storytellers. Now, how do you tell a story? When do you tell a story? How can you tell a story? You can tell a story when you want to establish your credibility. If you have seen the trend of the advertisements or branding nowadays, they no more sell a product. Okay, they talk about a cause. They talk about a story. A jeweler, instead of just showcasing their necklace or a earring in their ad, they are talking about girls' education. They are being a leader in showcasing something new, a cause-based communication. Okay, so they are leading it. So, all these are very, very important. And second thing, one of the most, not second thing, one of the most important thing is trust factor. Trust is what makes and drives an effective leader, as Colin Powell has said. You have to trust your colleagues, you have to trust your team members, but being alert, not with your eyes closed, with your intellect closed shut. You have to keep them open, but you have to trust. Establishing trust among your colleagues and growing that trust while nurturing their creativity and aspiration will lead to a very good, truthful, and compassionate leader. Compassionate leadership, another very important skill of a successful leader. So when you rise in the morning and have the first cup of coffee, or before you retire to bed in the evening, spend a minute to reflect on the day, a situation, or a person where you had the opportunity to lead and how you seized the moment. That itself, that moment itself will teach you, innumerable angles of leadership, because you know what went wrong, so you know what is to be done next and how to tweak the situation, or how to change the situation maybe, or change your attitude or behavior in the following moment day, that of course, feedback mechanism, which I once mentioned, I will all again repeat now. In service industry, three C's are very seriously followed. For any, whether it's an airport or like our metro in any infra companies, three C's are comments, complaints, and compliments. So these three C's always keep in mind as a leader. Now, what are the comments which are coming out of what you did? And think about it, how you can change it, and take definitely consider them seriously with logic. It's not that everyone is not talking sense. Next are complaints. Definitely feedback mechanism is important for any individual. Forget an industry, for you to be a better professional or individual. And compliments, don't flow away by compliments. Compliments are to be enjoyed, are to be treasured, but with complacency should not creep. You have to maintain that distance between compliment and the complacency, which very naturally comes in people. Some of the very effective leaders, they have carved out a niche for themselves. Great Ratan Tata, we know, and we know him for as a man of integrity and someone who believes in lifelong learning and determination. We have seen the takeover of Air India, okay, which happened long back, which was taken by government from JRD Tata, and then over the period of time, he had his dream and he believed in it, and also did he was determined to take over. So, but we know him. So it is basically forming a character. A leadership is developing a strong character, a strong personality. What can be the attributes? It can be integrity. Integrity definitely should be there in anyone, not only a leader, but each and every individual in us, whether a professional or not. So, but we recognize him this way: integrity and determination. Adi Godrej as a philanthropist and visionary. Azim Premji, we know for his humanitarian initiatives. He has a foundation, and as well as a revolutionary. He has been a revolutionary in the tech industry, a strategic investor also. Sudha Murthy, personally my idol. How she became a leader by challenging a university. Why a woman cannot be, a lady cannot be an engineer. And she challenged, she wrote, she saw the end. That's what we discussed, right? You should have the end in mind. She saw to it that it happened. She was the only lady student in her year. She did, the college did not even have a a ladies washroom. It was made after 1 year, and she went through the ordeal, went through the difficulty, but she stood with her conviction that I can also be an engineer. She was a leader. She was other than being the philanthropist and the way she thinks. I feel, for me, I'm little, biased about her. I feel whatever she says is a leadership statement to me, honestly. For me it is for sure. In fact, she was the day, one in interview I a long time ago, was not that day, I heard that when her son when her son came to her and said that that I want to celebrate my birthday and I want this 1000 rupees for this. So how she explain to her son that instead of just spending on your birthday, why don't you use this 1000 rupees to donate as a donation to some people who can use it for their education. So see how she is leading a thought. Leadership is also about a new thought, a new concept, a thinking what can lead the world to definitely a better space. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, entrepreneur, a big example how she has led her country now and ranked at the 60th, if not more, on the Forbes list as a business person. In Indra Nui, business executive. So all these people, and there are innumerable people, and there is each one of you today in this session who's hearing me out today, or listening on an optimistical note, if I may think, are leaders. Some wants to display, some wants to go take that extra step, some does not want to. That is all. Otherwise, everyone has the leadership trait. Everyone has that empowerment. Empowerment, I feel, is having the power within. You just need to bring it out. Take that, give that push in your life. Give that thrust in your life. Push yourself. Let me tell you, try once. End of the day, you will be so fulfilled with that positivity in you, self-realization, happiness, that you always would like to do that, like to work in that direction. You just need to shed away your inhibition. See, these are okay, these are not the formative years, but if I may say, to step into the wonderland of profession, this is your formative years. Okay. Shed away the inhibition. Move away from your comfort zone. I tell you, most of us, why, if we say that that person is not successful, or that person is not putting any extra effort, it is just that we don't want to move away from the cushion around us, from the comfort zone. We just have to move away, shed away that inhibition, move away from the comfort zone, get over those shortcomings what you have, polish the USPs what you have. Learn to take calculated risk. If you don't take risk, you cannot be the leader. If you fear, fear will not take you anywhere. Take risk, take calculated risk, which is very important, not blindly, not like a headless chicken. Ready to accept inconveniences in your life. Trust me, I don't want to, talk here about myself, but honestly, I don't have a baggage of many qualities or traits which, or education, which many in my tribe or in my peer group have. What I always tried to do is accepting the inconveniences of life and working towards it. If you don't accept the inconveniences, you cannot get up and move. You cannot limp back from the failure if it at all happens, because failures are the thresholds for your next success. That is all failure is all about. It is just the threshold for your next success. Know your team like the choir leader in a symphony. You can be the leader. Know your friends around you. What are their USPs? What are where are they lacking behind? Everyone should know about each one of you. Then a team can be formed. Dream to make a difference with integrity and resilience. Resilience is another very, very important aspect what we learned, at least pandemic has taught us, right? And work with the right attitude in mind. One of my favorite thing, I would say, I think Shreya must have heard from me so many times. Now, what is right attitude? Attitude, the word taking A as one. If you go on adding the word, it equals to 100. A plus T plus T plus I plus T plus U plus D plus E, D plus E. What is a right attitude? Giving your 100%, but there is a small catch here. Not your 100%, but what that 100%, what is required for you to give. Many students must have come and told, if some faculties are there around, or to Mr. Ajay, that I have, I've been awake whole night and made this presentation. Many of my team members come and say, you didn't like it, ma'am. Whole night I was awake and made this presentation. Burning midnight oil doesn't really make a very good presentation, or just gives, takes out what is being required from you. So you have to give 100% for sure, but the 100% what is required of that particular work or from you. Between, always remember, a leader and a follower, nothing exists. There are two groups, leaders and followers. Choice is yours, and it depends how you look at life and what you want from life. Life is one, and you need to enjoy life. You need to make a mark for yourself in life. So, how you look at life and what you want from life is your choice, and also is your choice whether you want to be a leader or a follower. Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions? I would love to take.
Anindita, I don't know if you were able to hear this applaud. Did you hear
No,
the sound?
no, I could not, but I would love to believe it.
No, I mean, of course you saw them.
I could hear that. I could hear that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, students. Thank you so much for hearing me, bearing me. I'll tell you, Mr. Ajay, I have two sons almost their age, and they say, Ma, why do you go and do what you do whole day with us? Why do you go and trouble them? They always tell me.
No, I think all of us here, express our deep gratitude to you for being a great mentor today. I think it was a wonderful masterclass in leadership communication. We learned, in fact, personally, I learned a lot from your session, Anindita. I can't thank you enough. So thank you very much. And I think let's have Shreya for the vote of thanks. I wish we could have taken a couple of questions, but the next session is already lined up. So maybe, the next time we will have the question answer session as well. But for today, we end this session, a wonderful session here, which we never wanted to end. Anindita, thank you so much. It was so wonderful to have you here. And Shreya, back to you.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much, Ananta ma'am. It has been truly a pleasure to be listening to your thoughts and such powerful thoughts indeed. I think this was a great masterclass, as Ajay sir put it, on leadership. And I think when we walk back from the session, we will all be motivated and inspired. And we will also apply everything that you said in our lives. Thank you so much for taking time out and being here today with each one of us. It has been
Thank
great.
you. All the best. Have a good life ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.